I'd like to explain to you the differences between a high specification pro rebound unit that's extremely low impact and a mini trampoline unit that's a little bit cheaper. So, on the pro trampoline, if I pull back the skirt cover, you can see that the springs are muscle shaped. There is about 30 coils of highly calibrated spring here, and they actually insert into a bolt, a strong steel bolt, that inserts through the frame. Now this is really important because it makes sure that when you bounce on the rebounder, all the forces are dissipated through the spring and through the bolt and not directly through the frame. If I show you the cheaper unit, as you can see, we have a lot shorter, straighter springs that give you an extremely hard bounce, and the springs insert straight into the frame itself. Now the problem with this is that they can buckle the frame very easily, so you have to be very, very careful. The second thing I want to show you is that on the Pro Gym Rebounder, we've had the skirt cover, or the spring cover, retracted back from the springs, okay? So it's not covering the springs completely. Now that's really important, because if the spring cover covers the whole of the spring, there is more chance that you will trip yourself up catching your foot in the skirt cover itself. The next thing I would like to show you, if I'm going to turn the rebound around this way, is the leg design. So on the Pro Gym Rebounder we have 6 very solid steel legs. They're spring loaded with a very strong spring inside, so you can quickly release them and then you can put them back on extremely quickly. They have a galvanized steel metal stud, again for extra strength. Pop the leg on, it takes 2 seconds. On the cheaper unit, we have to screw the legs on and screw the legs off, which can be quite time consuming. The other thing that you'll notice is on cheaper units, they have very small black plastic feet on. And with the Pro unit, it has a wider bottom. And these grey rubber feet are non-slip, and so they grip the floor a lot better. One of the main differences in the rebounders is the weight. This rebounder weighs 11.5 kilos. It's extremely heavy, and it's not going to tip up, and it's not going to move across the floor when you're bouncing on it. This rebounder weighs about 7.5 kilos. So it's a lot lighter, it's easier to tip up, and I wouldn't really be doing all of my conditioning exercises on it. I wouldn't feel safe. So they're the main differences in the rebounders. When you actually put the rebounders down and you have a bounce on the rebounders, there's a massive difference in feel. So if I go on the cheaper rebounder to start with, it's a very hard bounce. It's certainly not low impact. The tight springs on there force you to jump up high. Rebounding is not about jumping up high, okay? So again, if I was to step on the edge of the surface, you can see the rebounder tips. When I stand on the Pro Gym Rebounder, you can see straight away it's a softer bounce. And this means I can adopt the correct rebound position, which is pushing into the mat surface, rather than having to jump up high because it's tightly sprung. This rebounder will take away approximately 87% of the shock of impact, so it's extremely low impact and kind on your joints. Back on the harder rebounder again, it feels like I'm just jumping on the floor. So that's the difference in the rebounders.